Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome for today's new review about the ZEISS Batis 18mm lens, aperture f2.8. Today I say not hello from Frankfurt. I'm on a Greek island. It's called Kos. It's near the Turkish border and it's pretty amazing here. As you can see, like, there's no one at the beach. The island is not too big. If you have your own rental car, you will be able to pass from one side to the other within like 1.5 hours. And on this island, I'm gonna test the ZEISS Batis 18mm lens for you on the Sony Alpha 7 Mark III. So enjoy this review and all the best from Southeast Europe. So let's start this review by answering one important question first. Why did I buy this lens? Well, I'm more a fixed focal length guy. Some people like to zoom, while I like to walk instead of zooming in. I was thinking about getting the Sony 24 f1.4 GM lens first, but I have already the Canon version, which I use at the moment with an adapter. Sure, this lens has a slower aperture, but I have an 18mm instead of a 24mm lens as well, which weighs only 330 grams or 0.74 pounds. A great lens for a gimbal, by the way. This lens feels so great. Take it in your hands and you will realize that you bought something of high quality. Two things I don't like is the missing AF/MF switch, so as the smooth focus ring instead of a rugged one. If you need to change from AF to MF, you need to go into the Sony menu. Two things I don't really understand. Due to its compact design, the lens has its center of gravity close to the camera body, which is really nice for long days of shooting. It is just 8 centimeters or 3.1 inches long. The lens hood is part of this lens as well and was used during the entire review. Who actually needs such a lens? Me, for instance. It's a great lens for landscape and interior photography and for places with not too much space available. On this island in Greece, with its rough countryside and old buildings, we had tons of opportunities to test the full strength of this lens. If you're looking for any kind of color fringes, so-called chromatic aberrations, I think you need to look for a long time to find any of those. I put a bunch of example photos in the description below, but I haven't seen any of those. This island in the southeast part of Europe seems to be really crowded during the high summer season. If you look at all the empty bars and restaurants. We were here at the end of October with 27 degrees Celsius or 81 degrees Fahrenheit each day, which was perfect to visit the harbor to test the vignetting of this lens. At f2.8 you see some dark edges, which will be less at f4 and almost gone at f8. Make sure to use the automatic lens correction in Adobe Lightroom to handle this issue within a few seconds. You really have to be unlucky to spot any kind of flaring using the Batis 18mm lens. This is a rare and extreme example of flaring. During my outdoor shootings I was really happy with its performance. You will find more examples in the video description below. Let's get from the weaknesses to the real strengths of this lens. This lens is made for landscape photography. An alternative would be the Sony 16 to 35mm for $1,000 more, which is slightly heavier as well, but you get a range of focal lengths as well. However, I wanted to have a fixed focal length. Make sure to visit Kos, the island, if you can. By car it takes you only 1 hour from one side to the other. On this day we went to a place called Paleo Pili. At the top is an old castle ruin and on the other side a small tavern. A perfect place to test the wide angle lens. The lightweight body makes it so easy to carry it all day long. It's sharp from edge to edge, no matter at which aperture you shoot. Lots of details and a lot on your camera sensor. Imagine standing here with the Alpha 7R4. From the castle ruin to the other side for a coffee is just a 10 minutes walk. Then I spotted this toilet. Nice, isn't it? For sure it will not smell bad for a long time here. The old guy who owns this place is making you a nice iced frappuccino or Greek salad for small money. Make sure to visit this magic place. Enjoy the following scenes which were taken up here. If you need more than 18mm, I can highly recommend using the manual mode of your camera for the same exposure. Take 3 to 4 pictures in a row and merge them together in Adobe Lightroom. It takes less than 1 minute and will look like this after a few moments behind the computer. One common problem with wide-angle lenses is distortion. You can spot this kind of distortion when taking photos of high buildings or at some edges. Zoom lenses tend to have a bit more distortion than fixed focal length in my point of view. Using the ZEISS Batis 18mm lens, you will still see some distortion as well, which you can easily fix in Adobe Lightroom or Photoshop within a few clicks. Once I compare it with other wide-angle lenses, I kind of have the feeling to have the correct lens for my work. The closer you are to your subjects, the more distortion you will notice, like on this example, which was corrected in post already. I do like macro pictures taken with a wide-angle lens. Some people may not agree with that, but that makes photography so interesting, that you can basically do whatever you want. With f2.8 you can still isolate your subjects with a lot of blur background. Make sure to keep a distance of 17 centimeters or 6.7 inches to focus. My favorite type of photography is event photography and interior. In the summer I will use this lens for all the great festivals around Frankfurt again. For all my interior and architecture jobs I will use the ZEISS 18mm lens. Where space really matters, it is time for a wide-angle lens. You can get about 100 degrees field of view in the diagonal. This is really nice in a closed environment like churches or for interior work. As you might have heard, I do love this lens. But with all the euphoria for this lens, I do need to speak about one important topic as well. Sharpness. Yes, your photos are sharp. Wide open, so as at f4 or f8. You can compare these photos at home in full resolution. The link is listed in the video description below. So how about the autofocus system? Do you really think that ZEISS and Sony would cooperate with focusing issues? Definitely not. The autofocus was as quick as the camera and vice versa. You point the camera somewhere and the focus is already there. Perfect for any kind of snapshots. Maybe for street photography and all the other moments where you wanted to freeze the situation. All the following scenes were taken using the autofocus. You don't hear the focus at all and it was really quick. Maybe a great choice if you want to place your camera on top of a gimbal. I don't know if you want to use this lens during the night as well, maybe for video, then you need to push the ISO still a lot. If you plan on buying this lens for landscape or the night sky, I guess you have a tripod with you anyways. And I expect that you will get great results by using it. Some people may ask, is that a good vlogging lens? I would say yes, it is. It's not too heavy, it's not too expensive with that open aperture of f2.8. The alternative lens would be the 16 to 35mm, which gives you 2mm more. However, you pay $1,000 more, but you're more flexible as well. However, this lens is nice, it's lightweight, it's compact, and it fits into almost every camera bag in combination with the Sony Alpha 7 Mark III. Let's come to an end now. As you might have heard from this review, I love this lens. 18mm is enough to get a lot of things onto your camera sensor. A great lens for interior, architecture, landscape and vlogging. It's a great lens for the DJI Ronin SC due to its lightweight with a fantastic looking bokeh and an extremely fast autofocus system. Once you hold the lens in your hands, you will notice the great build quality. If you need to zoom, you might consider the 16 to 35mm from Sony. The link is in the video description below. Thanks for watching and see you soon, and all the best from Frankfurt and Kos.